What made Michael Phelps the greatest swimmer of all times? What made Pepsodent's marketing campaign so powerful that it got most of America to start brushing their teeth? And what made Starbucks able to sell coffee at a much higher price than their competitors? The answer is habit, habit, and habit. In this summary, we'll take a look on how habits form your life and how to change them. This is Detox Dan presenting the top 5 takeaways of Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit. Takeaway number 1. The habit loop. The reason we form habits is to save energy. Doing something consciously requires a lot of mental effort, so the brain has figured out that when we are engaged in things we are used to, it is much more efficient to be on autopilot. This is why habits are extremely useful and dangerous at the same time. We can get used to going for a jog after work just as easily as eating ice cream and watching television. The main feature is this: once something is a habit, it becomes easy and natural. To figure out how to use habits to change our lives for the better, we will first take a look on how they are formed. This is best illustrated by the habit loop. It consists of a cue, something that reminds us to act out the habit. It could be an emotion, like feeling stressed, or something visual, like seeing an apple on your work desk. Next is the routine. It is whatever we do when we encounter the cue. It could be taking a drink when the stress arises, or eating that apple once you see it. Lastly, every habit ends with a reward. This can be something direct, like feeling a high caused by the drink, or something emotional, like feeling a sense of pride after eating that healthy apple. One thing is clear: if there is no reward after the routine, there will be no habit. According to studies, one of the most effective ways to change habits is to try to change the routine attached to the habit while the cue and the reward stays the same. An example could be the cue of feeling anxious. Someone might be in the habit of firing off a few spins on the slot machine to relieve the anxiety. A new routine then might be to meditate, go for a jog, or call a close friend. These are all potentially potent activities for reducing anxiety, so the reward can still be the same. Now, of course, that is easier said than done. Let's dive deeper into how we can leverage habits to structure a great life. Takeaway number 2. What the hell is water? David Foster Wallace wrote, "There are these 2 young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, who nods at them and says, 'Morning boys, how's the water?' And the 2 young fish swim on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, 'What the hell is water?' This is the perfect metaphor for habits. They become invisible to us once they are formed. We will only pay attention to them if we really try. That is why awareness is the first step to breaking a bad habit. And sometimes it can even be the only thing required. The National Institute of Health conducted a study in 2009 on weight loss. They asked the participants to simply write down everything they ate during the day at least once a week. Once the habit of food journaling stuck, many of them started noticing patterns they had no idea existed. A few people noted that most of their snacking occurred at 10 a.m., so they decided to have a fruit available at that time instead, although switching the unhealthy snack for a fruit wasn't even suggested by the researchers. Another key factor for breaking a bad habit is the belief that change is possible. By the age of 28, William James, who later became one of the greatest pioneers in the field of habits, was very depressed and had suicidal thoughts according to his diary. But in a last effort, he decided to conduct an experiment. For 12 months, he would believe that he could change for the better and take control of his destiny, even in the absence of evidence. He practiced this every day and did his best to cultivate good habits. The experiment was successful, and later he concluded, "All our life, so far as it has a definite form, is but a mass of habits." Takeaway number 3. One habit at a time. In American football, it used to be common knowledge that the team with the thickest playbook and most advanced maneuvers would perform the best. But the new coach on the block, Tony Dungy, had a different philosophy. He thought that football was just about learning a few habits very well, like watching your opponent's body movement, and then practice reacting to these little cues faster than the other team. His approach led him to take one team from the bottom of the league to the top and eventually winning the Super Bowl with another. This illustrated that focusing on fewer things and making them a habit had a bigger impact. Another example of this is that back in the day, it was thought that one must radically change their life to lose weight. In other studies, unlike the food journal study mentioned prior, people were asked to change their diet, go to the gym, attend counseling sessions, etc. This turned out to be extremely counterproductive. Quote, piling on so much change at once made it impossible for any of it to stick, unquote. With this in mind, I myself thought of a little experiment. What if you simply change one habit at a time, very slowly and steadily for 90 days, and you only increase the effort with tiny, barely noticeable increments to make the whole process easy? Let's take reading for example. Say that you wanted to read for 30 minutes each day. Then you could start by reading 1 minute every day and add 1 minute extra every third day. Quick math, by day 90, you would have the habit of reading 30 minutes daily. Now, if you stuck to this process at all times, you would be able to change 4 habits in a year with very little effort. That, I can guarantee you, is life-changing. Takeaway number 4, Keystone habits. A keystone habit is defined as a habit that other habits rest upon. It is the central building block that influences everything else you do. If you are able to just identify and change this one habit consciously, it will spill over into other parts of your life and cause a positive ripple effect. This is great news, because now you don't have to focus on getting everything right, just this one thing. A common keystone habit for many people is exercise. If you manage to hit the gym habitually, things like eating healthy, going to bed early, and even be more productive at work seems to follow naturally. Then it becomes just about finding a way to get to the gym. Can you do that by leveraging the habit loop from takeaway 1? Or the tiny increment strategy from takeaway 3? What will work as a keystone habit varies from person to person. Meditation or journaling are 2 other habits you could try to implement as your keystone habit. Both of these have played an important role in my own self-development. They are both in their own way centered around awareness, so it makes a lot of sense that they are so effective. Takeaway number 5. Make a plan for pain points. In 1992, a study was conducted with patients recovering from hip or knee surgery. Getting out of bed and moving their body parts quickly were crucial for the recovery, but most patients skipped it anyways. The patients in the study were each given a booklet with a bunch of blanks to be filled in, like when and where they were going to do the rehab exercise. 3 months later, the people who had made a plan for the rehab process started walking twice as fast and getting in and out of their chairs unassisted 3 times as fast. Incredible. Sticking to a new habit can be easy at first, when the motivation is high and things are going smoothly. But when a sudden bump in the road occurs, it is easy to fall off the wagon. That is the main reason why the booklets seemed to be so effective. Many of the test subjects made plans for the anticipated pain. One patient wrote that he would walk to the bus stop to meet his wife when she got home from work, and if it was raining outside, he planned to wear a raincoat, and if the pain was too much, he would take one of his prescripted pills. In similar fashion, you could try to predict where things could go wrong with your new habits and how to deal with it. That was it for my top 5 takeaways of Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit. To make watching Detox Dan a habit, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you next time.